So this is a boat that I bought years ago, mainly for the motor. Didn't care too much about the boat, just had damage here in the front and a bad patch job over it. I'm not sure what they use, Bondo or what, but a bad patch job. It doesn't leak, but still not good. But the springs broke. Not hauling it or anything, but I've got new U-bolts and I bought new springs. So let me get it jacked up and we will get the old springs off. So I need to jack it up and get the wheels off of it and everything. See, it's just sitting on a block of wood between the axle and the frame. Because the U-bolts broke and the springs are all, one spring over there is broke and then this one's coming apart. Alright, so here's what I've been doing. Got the axle out, got the leaf springs off, still got to get the rest of that bolt out. The springs ordered are 9/16, and my old ones are 1/2 inch, so I'm going to have to drill the holes out to a 9/16, put a 9/16 bolt in. Had these bolts, they're too short, so I'm going to have to go get 2 bolts and nuts, and I'll drill this out. Now the actual axle part of the trailer unbolts from the trailer frame. As you can see, the part that holds the leaf springs unbolts from the trailer frame. And so that's what I did. Is I unbolted that. I brought everything in here in the shop where I could use a plasma cutter because these bolts were not going to come out. And ended up, I had to cut the leaf spring out so I could get to the bolt, and then cut the bolt in 2. And I just got to use the air hammer, air chisel, and chisel that one out. The rest of that one out. Now, let me show you. I'll go show you the trailer real quick. My new springs. Like I said, it unbolts from the trailer. I've got 2 stands under it and a jack. Just 2 bolts. It's the bolts that hold the fenders on. 2 bolts that hold that leaf spring bracket onto the frame. And then it comes off. Almost looks like it's supposed to have 4 bolts, or maybe it's made where you can slide the axle forward or back a little bit. So I just unbolted that and brought everything to the shop so I could cut the bolts out. So let me go get some new spring bolts and I'll pick up from there. Alright, air in the tires, and I got the springs mounted. We got longer bolts, and these are the special nuts that are smashed on one end so that it can almost gulls the thread when it goes on, but they won't come off. So keeps those nuts from coming off. Had to drill those holes in the spring hangers to 9/16. Works fine there. Picked up 1 bolt because I was missing 1 bolt on the where it bolts to the frame. Big mess. Extra trailer parts from other trailers. And I need to take my U-bolts. I'm going to mount these on, then slip the axles on, then the U-bolts. Oh, while I had it handy, I greased the bearings. Alright, here's where we are so far. Got the U-bolts mounted up. Got these in position with just the bolts loose, and got this under it where I can pry it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the fender back on because I ended up using the fender bracket. If I don't, these, you need some really thick washers to keep that from pulling in right there, because the bolt that I put in, because it was missing one bolt on this side and it was missing the fender, went ahead and put the one bracket back, one fender bracket back, and you can see I put a washer on it and it just pulled the washer up. So I'm going to have to make a little bracket there. I may go ahead and make a bracket like this and put another fender on it. I don't know. I have a set of fenders. I plan on selling this thing. I hate to use a good set of fenders on it because I probably wouldn't get that money out of it just for putting fenders on it. So I may just make a little square, take a piece of square scrap steel, drill a hole in it, and put through there. So, but that'll get it up to the shop to work on it easier. And it didn't even have a bolt in it before, so it just had this one. Better than it was, and I'm not going to leave it like that. So, probably get the fender bracket on, and then I'm ready to put the tires on it. Alright, there we go. So, let me jack it up a little more. Now, I'm missing one lug nut, so I'm going to move the boat and then look for it. I think it fell up underneath the boat. Got one stand out from under it. Weight is on the axles. Yeah, and the spring squatted a little bit, so that's good. Doesn't squat as much as it did, because before, that bolt that somebody left in there, not me, would get into the tire. So that's good. Of course, those other springs were bad shape. Let's bring the jack over here. Let's see if I can get this thing to run. Can't remember if I treated it or not. I think I ran the gas out of it. It probably wouldn't have been ethanol either, so that's good. But I may end up having to clean the carburetors out. We'll see. Alright, get this side down. Didn't put quite enough air in the tires. But it's sitting on the axles now. Again. I guess it's sitting on the axles before, but it's sitting on springs now. These are 3,000 pound or 30, I can't remember if they were 3,000 or 3,500 pound springs per pair. So now, trying to think about the best way to get this thing out of here. Alright, made it up to the house, or to the shop, and that was about right. 6 years. May of 08 was when the registration expired. And I didn't pull it after it was expired, so it's been at least 6 years since it's been anywhere. It's a mess. The boat is a mess. But like I said, I only bought it for the motor. definitely hasn't gotten any better in 6 years, but it wasn't very good when I got it. I think the floor is probably still okay because it's 3/4 treated plywood. So I would doubt that that would mess up, but we got a lot of leaves in there that we're going to have to clean out. So I think what I'll do, brought it up here to put some more air in the tires. Let's take a look at the motor. It's got corrosion on it, but it ran good. Make sure there's no wasp in here. What was that? Oh, gecko. So, there's the motor. Got some dirt daubers. 4-cylinder. 2 carburetors. Lots of dirt daubers. Lots of dead geckos. Turns. Got good compression. So I will probably clean it up some. We'll see if it'll crank without cleaning out the carburetors. Let's see if we're brave enough to turn this over, because I thought I heard wasp buzzing around. Sworn I heard them. Maybe it was dirt daubers. Don't see any. Motor still looks pretty good. Like I said, it's got some corrosion on it, but I mean, it's not actually not too bad to have been used in salt water. Worst of it's in the lower unit. Looks like it sat, you know, in the water. The guy I got it from, I think they used it where the water was like brackish, so not salty, but salt in it. So, well, let's I'm anxious to see if it'll fire up. Let's see if it'll fire up.